Hello and welcome back to the port. I'm the Gav Major, and this is a patron requested review of the Russian Tier 5 premium cruiser Molotov. Now this is a Tier 5 and 4 game of domination on fault line. On the enemy team we have a Mahan, a Tin, a Molotov, a Trento, in a division with a Congo, a Leander, a Konig, a Nizamul and a Normandy. So yep, lots of battleships. So Molotov is a Kirov class cruiser which was launched in December 1939. She went on to serve all the way throughout World War II, most notably during the siege of Sevastopol, I should say, and she then continued her service into the Cold War, where she was eventually scrapped in 1972. So, in comparison to the Tech Tree Tier 5 cruisers, survivability, you have a below average HP base of only 28,400. Furthermore, you do have no torpedo reduction. When it comes to the armour, doesn't look too good, but let's go back to the port and have a look at that. So we're back in the port taking a look at the armour of the Molotov, starting off with the bow plating, 13mm, not going to be stopping very much is the best way to put it, so not going to be wanting to bow tank anything really in this. It's not, yeah, it's going to be over penetrated by practically anything. So if a Molotov tries to bow tank you, you know exactly what to do, punch him through the nose. Going to the superstructure, nothing really to add here. Again, 10mm plating all over. I mean, that's just going to get penetrated by pretty much anything or everything. Basically, it doesn't exist as armor wise, so we can get rid of that. Going on to the upper armor belt, you are looking at a 16mm deck, which isn't really capable of doing much. I mean, might be able to ricochet an odd 8-inch shell, but nothing really spectacular. When it comes to that upper armor belt, you are looking at 18mm thick, which is it's going to stop maybe an 8-inch shell, but any battleship caliber shells are going to be coming straight through those, so that is something to be concerned about. The turrets and the barbettes are covered in some reasonable plating. You're looking at 50 and 70mm all over, which is capable of ricocheting any AP shell apparently, and also it does help resist against 8-inch HE. However, trying to bounce battleship shells off your turrets, probably not the most advised gameplay. That practically will leave us just with the citadel. It's a long citadel spanning from the front turret A turret all the way to the back of Y turret. It is partially above water, and unfortunately it is the only part of your ship which is probably going to be resistant to shells and able to ricochet them, but also it's going to be where everyone's going to be trying to shoot you when you're broadside on, and that means broadside on, that thick plating, it's not going to stand up much to battleship caliber rounds. So really this ship is just coming across as a big gigantic sponge, which is a little bit concerning, especially when you consider she's a tier 5. It's not really because she can what's at tier 5, because if you think about the Kirov is a very similar armor scheme and that's at tier 4, but it's more because you can face tier 6s, and because you can face tier 6s, that's a lot more 15-inch guns, a lot more 16-inch guns which are in play when it comes to battleships, which does mean that Molotov is not exactly favourable when it comes to the armor scheme. Well, let's get back to that game. Well, welcome back. So let's crack on with that artillery. You have 9 7-inch guns in 3 triple turrets. You have A turret, B turret super firing up front, and then you have Y turret at the rear. Okay, we've got Normandy and a Konig. Now, with these guns, you do have the joint second longest range of 14.8 kilometers. You also have the third slowest reload of 12.5 seconds. You do have the third best turret traverse speed of 22.5 seconds per 180 degrees of rotation. Now you have an average HE shell damage of 2,500, you have an average fire chance of 13%, and an above average AP shell damage of 4,400. However, combining that with that third slowest reload, it does kind of affect your DPMs. DPM wise, you are looking at having the second worst HE DPM, you're also looking at having the second worst fires per minute, and the below average AP DPM. So it's almost like your AP DPM is probably your strongest suit, I guess you could say. When it comes to the torpedoes, you do have 2 triple launchers, 1 per side. Now these are your typical Russian cruiser torpedoes, I guess you could say. Now they do have a fast reload, 3rd fastest reload per launcher, and 2nd fastest reload per tube. So per launcher, it's going to take about 70 seconds to reload, which works out as about 23.3 seconds per tube. Now these do an average torpedo damage of 14,400. However, they have an average detection of 1.3 kilometers, shortest range of 4 kilometers. That's what I mean by those typical Russian torpedoes. Furthermore, you're also looking at having the joint fastest speed of 65 knots on those torpedoes. You may note I'm playing at range, and there's a reason there. She has 2 traits, both of which are in accounts to her guns. Another one, there was a 3rd one, which we'll cover when we get there. But basically, she has extended reach with her guns, which we can kind of confirm thanks to the very good gun range, I guess you can say. She's also got sure shot. The grouping of these shells is very good. If you, unfortunately like myself at the moment, who can't really quite pay full attention to what's going on, but if you can line those guns up nicely, you do get some really nice groupings. It's one of her benefits, I guess you could say. It's just I wish I had a slightly more survivable platform in which to operate these guns from. That's kind of what I feel is the downside. Maneuverability. You are the fastest at 36 knots. You do have the largest turn circle of 860 meters, and you do have an average rudder shift of 7.8 seconds. When it comes to the concealment, yeah, you have an exposed trait, which basically means you do have a larger detection, I guess you can say, which is quite true. You do have the largest detection by sea, which is 13 kilometers. Furthermore, you have the largest detection by air, which is 7.8 kilometers, and largest detection when firing smoke, which is 7 kilometers. So as always, down in the description is the commander build and the ship modules used, if that does interest you. But regarding ship modules, I've taken Aiming Systems Module 1 and Propulsion Module 2. You could go for steering gears. I did play around with steering gears, but I kind of felt I wanted to rely a bit more on the engine, especially when I'm as fragile as I am here. Might actually chance my arm at some AP against this Congo, because he is oh, he starts to look at us, which is definitely a concern. But yeah, you can kind of see how sluggish the rudder is there. Regarding consumables, first of all, you have 2 of the standard cruiser sonars, I guess you could say, for the tier. What you're looking at is it can pick up ships at 4 kilometers range, it can pick up torpedoes at 2.8 kilometers range, and it can have, well, it does have a 92 seconds duration and a 180 second reload. You also have 3 catapult fighters. Now these have a duration of 100 seconds and a 80-second reload, which is pretty standard at the moment regarding how catapult fighters and the such are working. Now, one thing which is slightly amusing was during 1943, she was fitted with a catapult which was capable of launching a Supermarine Spitfire. Although I don't think this ever really... It got tested, however, I don't think it ever really followed through, is the best way to put it. But it is quite an interesting little bit of history. It would have been amusing if they could have equipped the Molotov with a Spitfire. That would have been quite a nice little nod to that, but of course the Russians, they don't like talking about Lend-Lease. So, this is a bit of an issue here. Trento, 8-inch cruiser. My armour is no good against 8-inch guns. And it pretty much is always going to hurt. Really, we just want to be getting as much range between us and her and try and use our range advantage. Unfortunately, she's paying attention. We do have another Molotov here, but we're literally running out of map. think we've got to hope that maybe a little bit of deceleration and acceleration is going to help. And also see if we can maybe take advantage of this broadside Molotov. Okay. Whether we can do anything about this Trento behind us is another question. Maybe we can just run. I kind of feel like against the Trento I'm just going to lose out. At the moment we're not quite enough to get away from him, so we might as well engage. Also immediately he's closing the angle. Maybe a bit of angle might help. I think that's all we've really got in our favour here, is just hoping for a bit of angle to get away from him. Maybe see if we can fold up with a friendly Trento. Maybe that might buy us some time. We've got less HP, but we might be able to win the DPM fight. And obviously I think if we can start getting some of these hits now start hitting, we could be in a better situation. Right, I'm going to put the book down and we can now almost continue this review as a let's play. Yes, I have probably played it quite passive. Looks like our team has played it quite passive though as well. We've been able to draw a Trento all the way out here. Whether we can make any form of advantage of this, I don't quite know. Obviously Trento's going to have better detection than us. There he is, he shows his hand. So here's hoping that maybe we can just get a nice 1v1. And hope that maybe he doesn't know the weakness of the Molotov in that I have no armour in which to resist him. Oh, he could start wrapping us up. Oh. So will the Trento fire HE or AP? Looks like he's going for the torpedoes. And he's fired them way over there. Well, 5 citadels will do that to a cruiser. On that bombshell, I think we're going to take the slightly more passive approach to this and see if we can cap the Alpha objective using our superior speed. So, how have I found the Molotov? I don't like it. I got her out of a crate, the patrons have requested me to review her, and I've been trying to review her for about a week. She's a very difficult cruiser to play. Her armour just has no capabilities, which is a real downside to her. Her strongest strength is her gun accuracy, and if you want to try and take full advantage of that gun accuracy, you have to play at quite a bit of range and kind of hope that you get the right opponents which you can take advantage of. In an instance where you can take advantage of them, or they know how to take advantage of you, then you're pretty much done for. So if you're out there and you come across a Molotov and you're in an 8-inch cruiser, load AP, because you'll be able to punch through pretty much all of the upper armoured bout and the stern and the bow. Basically, just don't bounce it off the citadel if they're angled or off their turrets, and you should be fine. Helpful tip in how to kill a Molotov. There's probably a reason why we don't see many of these ships being played. I've never really looked into it, and now I have. I kind of see why. Would I recommend people purchasing her? Probably not unless you're a collector, in all honesty. Obviously it's gonna be a bit like horses for courses. There are gonna be some people out there who do enjoy her, and if you're one of those people, fair enough, I've got nothing against you. Have as much fun as you want in this cruiser. If you can make her work, then that's a pipe dream that I would love to know about. But for myself, she just doesn't quite fit into any of my play styles. She requires a lot of concentration. I kind of feel that actually the Cheshire was easier to understand than the Molotov, and the Cheshire took me a good while, whereas the Molotov's taken me about a week of playing her on and off, and finally being able to actually sit down and have a game where I can commit to the review. Quite a few games where I've been in the Molotov, I haven't been able to quite commit to the review because I end up with the enemy bearing down on me so quickly that my concentration kind of wanders. I have to almost focus on getting the review over and done with. So we're about a minute away from the end of the game. If one of our battleships could maybe mop up a battleship, we might be in a potential opportunity to take this away. But I am going to try and get this cap. It's only going to get us about 30 seconds of points, unfortunately, because it's going to take about a minute to actually grab the cap. Oh no, it's going to get us less now. But we're going to stop them earning this for now, and then we're going to earn about, say, 20 seconds of points, which I need this menu, which is going to give us another, well, that's not a lot of points. So I think we're going to have to partially get ourselves into a position where we can maybe start chipping it in onto one of these battleships. Now, again, another downside with these Russian cruisers is their very flat shell trajectory. Because of that, doesn't make them great at shooting from behind islands, unfortunately. So that's almost another downside with them. So I'm hoping here, if I can work this Normandy over and cap, I might be able to, yes. Might be able to just get enough points, maybe. I think we're still going to need to kill that last battleship, unfortunately. But knowing the capabilities of the Molotov, I kind of feel that if I just charged in against two battleships, I unfortunately would have probably gone pop. Maybe I played a little bit too passive towards the end, but unfortunately, yep, it's in the enemy team's favour. Well, it's an unfortunate loss, but in the Molotov, it's not exactly. I'd rather not go big and go home. Unfortunately, with her, I'd rather just do what I can and hope the rest of the team know what they're doing. Unfortunately, defeat, but 120 hits on targets, 4 kills, some of them were more kill secures, I have to confess, 6 citadels and devastating strike against the Trento. Team results though, coming in at the top. It's a bit of a surprise, she's not the most capable of cruisers in all honesty, and yeah, earning a reasonable profit at the end of the day. She is a premium ship, so it's just have reduced mass. It's not a reduced ship service cost, but she has an increased credit earning potential, which is quite nice. So that's why I'm able to walk away with 334,000 credits with premium. I know it's not the most spectacular review, but it was requested by the patrons, and well, there you go, guys. I've done what I can. If you have enjoyed it, feel free to give it a thumbs up, and feel free to support the channel on Patreon if you so wish, and you can make your own requests. Also down in the description is the email address to the channel if you want to send any of your own game captures for the community spotlight video on a Monday, and the commander build and the ship modules. And thank you. Until next time, I'm the guy from Major, and back to the pool.
Hey, hey, clear the way, here comes the galloping Major. Bumpity, 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 bump. Get out of the way there, you fellows. Unless you want me to run you down, I guess this is the life. Now, hey, hey, clear the way, here comes the galloping Major.